What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video, and you know what? I was in a great mood. I was in an awesome mood before this race, but then we jumped into the lobby and I see this. Like, are you serious? We're racing against really fast cars here. We're racing actually against the fastest people in all of North America, and I was not prepared. I thought we were gonna get pushed together with like low class A+ ranked players and A ranked players. I wasn't expecting to be racing against some of the guys that actually gone to the world final of Gran Turismo. So not looking forward to this race, as we are starting in 19th. Well, not starting 19th, but we are ranked in 19th place for this lobby. So my goal here is just to finish ahead of 19th place, and that's basically the expectation I'm setting for myself here, as again, we are going to be nowhere near the speed as the top 10, 11, 12, 16, 18 cars ahead of us, as they are all really fast drivers. So we just got to be absolutely perfect but better. So let's see what we can do here, as we are at Nurburgring GP in the Alfa Romeo 4C, the Group 4 edition, as majority of the people picked the Alfa Romeo. Some people picked the Megane, and also some other people picked the Lancer. But as we jump into the points, you can see here that if you get first place, you get 314 points, but if you get 20th place, you get 65 points. So basically, if you don't finish in the top 10, basically your race day was a waste, as you're not going to get a lot of points, and you're actually going to have people lower ranked than you are actually going to overtake you on the point standing. So, and again, what we're going to do is we're going to shoot for a top 18. I think that's a pretty good realistic expectation as we jump into this race. So before we jump into qualifying, we're trying to reach the goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. So coming into our qualifying, let's see how we stack up against some of the fastest ranked players in all of North America, as we are waiting our go here to get started on our flyer lap as we jump up into qualifying. So coming into the final corner now, you see on the bottom left that pole position is running a 2:01.2 as we're finishing up our first flyer lap. Coming out of the final corner now, let's see what we can put against that pole position time. Crossing the start finish line, we get a 2:05.6, so 4 seconds slower than first position as we come out of the final corner for our second flyer lap. Let's see what we can do. And we are actually able to improve it to a 2:04.1, but we are still about 2.5 seconds slower than pole position. As you can see right there, we are 2.7 seconds slower than pole position. So at least we're not starting in last place, as there's a car right behind us. But I mean, that's just showing you guys the type of talent that's in this lobby. And let's see if we can try to make any overtakes and hopefully finish ahead of 19th position, as that's where we were ranked at. So if we could finish in 18th or better, I'm all good. That'll be Mike's set goal for today as we jump up into the intro. So jumping into the intro here, we're going to talk about strategy. The strategy I'm going to be implementing here is running the mediums, since we are starting in the back. The two compounds that are given to us are the softs and the mediums, but the mediums and the softs are both required in order to not get a penalty at the end of the race. So again, we're going to start on the mediums, run the mediums all the way until about lap number 3 or 4, depending on how many cars come into the pits, and then switch off from the mediums to the softs for about 6 laps until the end of the race. And hopefully we could try to make some overtakes, as it is going to be a really difficult lobby and a difficult race. So let's see what we can do here as we jump into the race. Waiting for the 5 lights now, as we are starting in our starting grid in 18th position. We're getting 2 reds, 3, 4, 5, and lights out, as away we go. Imitating David Crofty there. As we come down to the start finish line, we're able to make up 1 position now, as we are jumped up into 16th place, and we were able to make an overtake on the inside of the car that started to the left of us as we come into turn number 1. Coming to turn number 1, we have a car on the outside, actually 2 cars onto the outside, as we're going 3 wide. Then we make a little bit of contact coming out of the first corner as we jump into turn number 2. Coming into turn number 2, we're still right behind 17th place, as we're getting pressured on the inside now as we come into turn number 3 and onto the left-hander here. That's going to lead us into the right. So coming to the left-hander, we have to give up the position there, as 18th was able to make an overtake on the inside of us, and we hold our spot now going into the right-hander, as we are demoted all the way to 19th, but we are actually getting pressured for last place now as we come into the left-hander, braking as late as we can, but the Alfa underneath us was able to make the overtake on us, as we're going to stay right behind them, just focus on our mediums, try to not wear them out soon. and just try to stay right behind the slipstream of these guys to try to keep up with them, and hopefully we can go into the first pit stops, not in last place, as we jump into the end of lap number 1. So coming to the final corner now, you see there's a car ahead of us that has a penalty, so that should be able to benefit us as we come now into lap number 2. Jumping into lap number 2, we're still right behind the Alfa ahead of us and the Megan as we come into turn number 1. Braking as early as we can. There's actually a car that spun out there, so we are going to be able to hopefully overtake him as we come out of the final corner. But he's able to get back onto the power. But he makes a little bit of contact with the Megan ahead, and he gets a 2-second penalty there as the Alpha's bumping him out wide again also. And we're going on to the inside there of the Lancer, and we're able to make the overtake on the Lancer as he's got a 2-second penalty, so that's going to benefit us. But also the car ahead of us has a half-a-second penalty. So when we go into the penalty zone here coming up, let's see if we could try to gain 2 positions now as we jump into the replay. You just see the Lancer brakes way too late, overdrives it, runs into the back of the car ahead of him, and he spins out there, and he's cost himself basically the race as he is all the way down into 20th place now as we come into the right-hander. So coming to the right-hander into the penalty zone, we're right behind the Alfa ahead of us as he's gonna have to serve his penalty now. As we jump into the penalty zone, let's see if we're gonna be close enough to make the overtake. Shifting onto the inside in case if he unghosts himself, which he does, and we're able to go side by side now as we head into this corner. Onto the inside now as we're trying to get ahead of the Alfa here coming out of the corner, but he just has too much momentum coming out of there, and we're now going side by side into the S's here as we go into the outside. He bangs us a little bit. We go into the dirt. We're able to hold it together there as we come out of the S's and follow him right behind on the slipstream as we head into the left-hander here. So coming to the left-hander, we try to brake as late as we can, but we're just too far back to try to make any attempt of an overtake. But we're just going to follow him here as, again, we still have about 1 or 2 laps until we come into the pits and switch off the mediums to the softs now as we come down to the straightaway. So coming down the straightaway, leading us into the chicane. Let's see if we're going to be close enough to make any type of move as we come down to the chicane. Braking right after the 100-meter board. We get very, very close to running into the back bumper, but luckily we were able to woe it down, and we didn't make contact with him now as we are going to jump up into lap number 3. So coming into lap number 3, staying right behind the Alfa here as we're coming into the final part of the S's. We're heading into turn number 10 now as we're staying right behind him. Brake very, very early, but the Alfa brakes way later. He actually outbrakes himself, goes out very wide as we head into turn number 11, and we're able to make the overtake on him on the outside as luckily he didn't come back onto the racetrack forcefully. And we are now promoted into 18th place as we come into the end of lap number 3. So coming to the end of lap number 3, coming out of the chicane, there's a few cars ahead of us that are coming into the pits. And let's see where that's going to put us in when we come out of the final corner now. Jumping into the final corner, heading us into lap number 4. We're going to cross the start-finish line. As you see, there's a gaggle of cars in the pit stops as we are right now in 11th place, but we're not going to see where we're going to be at until they come out. And we are coming out in 15th place as we head into turn number 1. Right behind the Canadian as we come into the first corner. So coming to the first corner, you see there's a gaggle of cars ahead of us as they're going too wide now, going into turn number 2. Are we going to be able to do anything here as they're making contact ahead of us? They're racing really, really hard. And are we going to be able to make a move onto the inside of the American and follow the Canadian into 13th place as they're still going side by side here, going into the right-hander. And the Canadian actually backs out of there, so that's going to allow us to stay right behind him as we come down the straightaway, leading us into turn number 5 and turn number 6. So staying right behind these gaggle of cars ahead of us as they're now on the soft compound. So if we could stay with them on the slipstream, we should be able to make some time up on the cars that were ahead of us before the pit stop. But let's see if that plan's going to work out here as we come down the straightaway, leading us into Dunlop Curve. So leading us into Dunlop Curve now, staying right behind the 14th place car. We're able to hold off our position now as we come into the end of the lap. And we're going to come into the pit stop, switch off from the mediums to the softs now, and not have to worry about fuel here as the fuel consumption wasn't bad on this racetrack. So we're just going to switch the tires, not worry about fuel, and then just push as hard as we can so we can get from wherever we're at to at least a better position as we come out in 18th place. And you see there's the red Alfa right behind us as we come into turn number 1, going side by side a little bit. He's on the outside. We're going to keep it onto the inside. Watch out for the cutback as we're going to keep it onto the inside of turn number 2. And we're able to do so there as we are now getting pressure from behind as we came out of the pits. Very, very close to the Alfa behind us. So very interesting about that. So let's see what we can do here as we come into turn number 4. Coming out of turn number 4 here, we go a little bit wide now as this is actually going to take us into the inside. So we're going side by side into turn number 5. Let's see what's going to happen here as we are trying to keep it onto the inside of 19th position as we're still going side by side as we go into turn number 6. But we're able to hold him off there and hold our position. And we are still in 18th place as we are surpassing the goal that we had so far. As I did say, 18th place or better is our goal to finish as we jump up into lap number 5. So coming to lap number 5, going to the chicane. A few more cars are going to come into the pit, so let's see where that's going to benefit us as we come out of the chicane. Going into the final corner now, you see there's a car ahead of us, 2 cars ahead of us that are on the mediums that are going to switch off to the softs. And let's see where that's going to help us out as we are now in 16th place, 17th place as we come down to straightaway. Where are we going to end up here as we come down to the end of the pit road? And you can see there's a black car ahead of us that's coming out of the pit lane. And let's see if we're able to make the overtake on him, but we're just too far back as he's still ahead of us as we come into turn number 2. And now we just have to play catch-up game here as we got to catch up to 17th place and see if we can try to make an overtake on him so we can finish 1 place better than our expected goal as we jump up into lap number 9. So coming to lap number 9, you see we gain a huge gap on the car behind us, but also the car ahead of us is able to pull away there. As you can see, one of the cars ahead of us makes a mistake, and it's Megan in 17th place, and he actually loses the position there. So let's see if we can try to catch up to him now as hopefully he can start battling with 16th place, and that can catch us up a little bit as we come into turn number 4. So jumping into turn number 4, staying right behind the 2 cars ahead of us, and we're just going to see if they are going to fight with each other and hopefully bring us closer to them. As you see, 17th place actually goes very, very wide coming out of turn number 4. And that's going to lead us into turn number 5, allowing us to catch up to him as we are only about less than a second behind 17th place. You can see how much time we actually gained on him on just those 2 corners. And now we are almost less than half a second behind 17th place as we jump up into the straightaway. So coming to the straightaway now, leading us into the chicane. We're in the slipstream of 17th place, so that's pulling us forward and closer to him as we come into the chicane. Taking our first and second apex very, very good as we are coming out of the chicane closer than we came in to 17th place. As we are coming to the final corner, let's see if we can make the overtake on the final lap and finish 1 place better than our targeted expected goal as we come out of the final corner now, jumping into the straightaway, leading us into the final lap now. We're right behind the yellow Megan ahead of us as we are trying to make a move on to the inside. We got better top end speed. Going into the inside, try to brake as late as we can, but we are unable to brake later than the Megan, but he actually outbrakes himself. Misses the apex, and we're going side by side now if we head into turn number 2. We're on the outside here, so we're going to make a cut back, try to avoid making contact with him, and yes we do. As we come into turn number 3, we're on the inside here, and he's going to shut the door on us as he slams us down onto the inside. And we're still on the inside now, going into the outside, turn number 4, as the Megan is going to capitalize on holding us onto the inside of turn number 3, and he is now ahead of us by about half a car length now as we are on his back bumper, leading us into turn number 5 and 6. So coming into turn number 5 and 6, we make a little bit of contact with him again as he goes very, very slow on that corner, heading us into Dunlop curve. Let's see if we can try to make an overtake on him as we're trying to look onto the inside of Dunlop, braking very, very late, but he brakes later than us, and he's able to hold it there as we're trying to just get a good exit here. And we do, but he gets a better exit as we are still in his slipstream now going into the S's. So coming into the S's here, we're still right behind 17th place as we are in his slipstream. And let's see if we can catch up here as before we get into the straightaway that's going to lead us into the chicane. Coming to the left-hander, we gain a ton of time on him as we are still catching up to him closer and closer, but we just can't find any way to get around him as we're just moving left and right all over the place on the racetrack to try to find any available spots to try to make an overtake on 17. But this is going to probably be our best chance here as we are now coming to the chicane. You can see how much of a top end speed we have from him. Going to the chicane now, we brake as late as we can. We move on to the inside of the yellow car, and we're making a move on to the inside, make a little bit of contact, but he gets a better exit than us now. As we come into the final corner, are we going to be able to do anything here as we come into the final corner? He brakes very, very early, and there's yellow flag ahead of us, so let's see what's going on there. But it's now a race here as we come into the final corner, coming to the start-finish line. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line. And let's see where we finish. We finish in 18th place after going side by side to a photo finish with 17th place. And we're able to accomplish our goal, but I really wanted to finish in 17th place. We've got a really great run on the outside of 17th place, but unfortunately we were unable to gain that position But we did finish better than what our targeted position was going to be, which is 19th place. And we were able to accomplish our goal and finish in 18th or better. So again, a really, really fast lobby as we actually finished more than 30 seconds behind first place, which is crazy, especially because if you think about it, it's only a 10-lap race and we finished more than 30 seconds behind him. We're clearly not fast enough for this lobby, so we're just gonna have to keep practicing and practicing and try to increase our speed, and maybe one day we can get into one of these lobbies and actually compete for a top 10 finish. So again, if you guys found this video very entertaining, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.